morning, depending on where you are in the world today. Today we've got another Robbi Tech review. We will be reviewing a 1000 watt power supply. Be Quiet's known in the industry for their PC cases, their cooling solutions, as well as their power supplies. Since 2007, they are one of, if not the highest selling power supplies currently in Germany to date. And they do have a decent track record, from my understanding, in producing high quality, quiet and efficient products. So in that light, what we are actually reviewing today and unboxing is our Straight Power 11 1000 watt Platinum efficiency power supply. So as you can see, it's just right here in front of your eyes. I'll swing the box around so you guys can see if there's anything special. It comes packed neatly in a fairly large box. There's quite a lot of weight to it. It is 80 plus certified platinum. It also does have a silent wings fan in it, which is one of Be Quiet's known quiet fans. It's got full cable management available to it through fully modular design. From my understanding, the cables are braided. They're not a flat cable, but a braided black cable, which should be completely concealable in essence because of its color scheme. Now, this is a premium product, as you can see via the premium logo, obviously on the side of the box. Quite hilarious that they have to actually write premium. Does it suggest that their other products aren't premium in that sense? But the 80 plus platinum certification allows for up to 94% efficiency, and that will in turn save you power as well as money, while also provide the right power draw at the right time in a more accurate and precise manner. The inside of the power supply itself is a wire-free design on the DC side, and this lack of wirings supposedly increases airflow, has a tidier environment, but also provides less signal disturbance. It's something that Be Quiet has implemented first in the industry, and with a 5-year warranty, they're backing up their power supplies in a decent manner. Other power supplies do have longer warranties. This is a premium product which costs approximately 350 odd Australian dollars and is designed for high-end systems. I wouldn't recommend getting this type of product for a low-end system, but also you'd have to factor in how many watts you require, and also be realistic in your approach, as you know, a $600 system doesn't require 33% of its value to be the power supply in essence. The good thing is, on the Be Quiet website itself, there is a calculator which helps enable you to work out how much power draw you're going to require, and in turn what sort of power supply you need. So it's worthwhile checking out. It saves you the legwork of doing the mathematics involved. So without further ado, let us open up this Be Quiet Straight Power 11 1000 watt platinum power supply. Okay. So we're going to start off by removing the plastic. There's plastic upon seals upon more plastic in around the box, so it's very neatly packaged on first glance, and Be Quiet is known for their packaging prowess. So let's get into unboxing this power supply. It's always fun to be peeling off the plastic. Seems like it's got a mind of its own. So that's the plastic aside. We'll flick it around. It does also have a seal sticker on it, so that's something to note, especially if you're buying it and you're buying it without a seal new. I would suggestively ask for another one of these instead with the seal sticker. So we shall attempt to, unfortunately my letter opener doesn't seem to be sharp enough to open this seal. Okay, let us get into the unboxing. So as we open up the lid, we are greeted with that new electronics smell. It's not a car smell, but it's got a strange aroma to it that almost gets me slightly excited. A flap has been pulled out, so we're met with another inner lid in the box itself. So we'll pull that up, and there we can see our Straight Power 11 Premium User Manual or Platinum User Manual. We've also got the dimensions of the power supply, which is 86 millimeters tall and 170 millimeters wide on the axis of the fan, and 150 millimeters in depth. That's something to consider depending on if you're using it in a small form factor build or not. Generally speaking, it's of a general size in nature in comparison to all your other power supplies. The 1000 watts that we've got here provides 83.3 amps on the 12 volt rail. That equates to 999.6 watts. 150 watts available on the 3.3 and the 5 volt rails. And both of those are able to hit 25 amps. So we'll put our Straight Power manual aside and we'll progress deeper in. Looking at everything else, very interesting that it's Be Quiet used to provide an additional box for their power supplies to keep your cables in and whatnot. Doesn't seem to be the case anymore. So we're going to, if we have a look on the left side, we do have a certain amount of cables, which also velcroed, which is very nice. So we'll pop that over here. On the other side, we do have more additional cables, which are velcroed also, which is very nice. And this is a fully modular power supply, so you only need the cables that you need or require. We pull out the back here, greeted with bubble wrapped components, and they've nicely decided to bubble wrap the power supply, their cable. There seems to be a bit of girth to it, which is nice. I have seen girthier power supply cables before. It doesn't seem like they've skimped out too much on quality here, although the cable at first glance does seem slightly shorter than a long cable would be. So I would say it's a standard cable in that sense. If we have a look further in, I can see another item. Zip ties or cable ties, depending on how you call them. And we've also got our 4 PSU screws coming in black. So we'll pop that over there. Now we'll take out the power supply. I can see the Be Quiet logo greeting us. It doesn't seem like there's any more items in the box itself. The box itself is of a premium quality, but I was under the belief that there would be a box within a box for the cables themselves. So upon unboxing, we've got our power supply manual, our first set of cables, which seems like the major ones, including our 24 volt or our 12 volt rail, should I say, both for our motherboard power and also your PCIe connections. Also velcroed, we have our additional power cables, and correction, here is our motherboard one along with some Sata as well as Molex. We'll get into how many there are, but just on first glance everything seems to be braided quite nicely. There's definitely a girthy sort of a cable or cabling utilized, and that signifies quality. It's a matter of preference whether for the same suppliers, for the same price or slightly more even, CorneR will give you flat cables. Personally, I find flat cables nice to work with, but they do not look the nicest at times unless completely hidden, obviously, which is the point. If you've got slightly visible cables, I like a bit of girth and a roundness to it, and all cable sleeves themselves preferred a long power supply, considering the lead space from my case to the power supply adapter. So without a moment's rest, we shall unveil the power supply itself. Here we have our dry pack satchel as well. And as we unveil the power supply, here it is. So at first glance, it seems like Be Quiet has removed all the stickers except for one, which is your wattage ratings and your amp ratings and whatnot and information. They used to have a sticker on the side here. Now they do have a Be Quiet engraving into the side of the PSU itself, so slightly more stylish, a little more expensive than just a sticker alone. You can see the Silent Wings fan here, which are known quality fans, engineered in Germany by Be Quiet themselves. There is a slight dip which is meant to allow for increased airflow or suction within, for the airflow to dissipate any heat. And if we turn it around, we can see our connectors. So our connectors aren't conventionally horizontal but vertical in nature, which some people dislike. I don't think it makes much of a difference personally. It's just something to note as well. Here is your warranty void if removed sticker. If we flick it around, here's our sticker for our Platinum model, which specifies the ratings on it, which is really nice. So to reiterate, 12 volts, it generates or can handle 83.3 amps, and that's borderline just under 1,000 watts if you do the calculation. 150 watts on the 3x3 and the 5 volt rails, and we can't really get a good look inside. I'm not opening it up in this video, but you can see that it is wire free on the DC side inside, which hopefully will translate into the claims which Be Quiet has made. At the very least, it is much more of a tidier power supply than conventionally known, and you hope that with this innovative approach, long-term wise, there won't be any issues. Speaking of long-term, it has a 5-year warranty attached with it. I would have preferred Be Quiet to slap on a 7 or 10-year warranty, such as CorneR does on their, especially their premium products. But a 10-year warranty, on the other hand, is rather generous, especially when you don't know if people are mining 24/7 or utilizing their power supplies 24/7 under heavy load for 10 years. You'll be lucky if many power supplies last that long under those conditions. If we flick it around, there's more breathing holes for air to escape. It's not completely covering that side like some power supplies do, but it's also got a Be Quiet logo here, or sticker, as well as a switch, which is quite clicky, which is good, solid switch. And you can see our power supply cable insert here. So cables are neatly packaged. They aren't at a 90-degree angle, just looped. Something to consider, because you never want to have your cables at 90-degree angles. These will have to be retrained for purposes of your PC, otherwise those kinks will annoy in a place on the case. So all I suggest is straightening them out somewhat and giving them slight flex in the opposing direction, and they should ever so eventually start to retrain themselves. There is a long length to these cables, which is good. They're not very short. It looks like between 60 or 70 centimeters at the very least. If we have a look here at our first cable, it is a PCIe cable. This is the insertion point to the power supply. And here we have two 8-pin connectors, or 6-pin if desired, or one 8-pin and one 6-pin. Cable ties will probably be required at certain points to enable the lack of splitting of the cable itself, but it doesn't seem to be poorly created in that regards, or braided, and that's a plus. Here we have our CPU connector cable, at least one of, and this one's a split one with two 4-slot connections, or can be obviously put together for an 8-slot connection. Here is another PCIe cable, so that's 2 for the time being, which will allow for SLI or crossfire compatibility. And here is our third cable for PCIe slots for your graphics card, which is really good that they've got 3. If you ever need to max out your motherboard for any reason, then this power supply will definitely be capable of that, providing you aren't going over, I'd say probably about 800 watts. You do want to leave a bit of a gap of 25 to 30% on the power supply itself. It means that it's never fully loaded, and that's a good thing for a power supply. Here we have our other CPU connector to the power supply, and it's a straight 8-pin. So this is really good in case you've got a premium motherboard that requires a higher CPU power draw. You've got both an 8-pin and two 4-pins. So some motherboards have a 4-pin and an 8-pin connector, so you're capable of doing that. Otherwise, a simple 8-pin instead for the 8-pin connector, and that's connected together, so there's no fuss, especially if you've got a tight squeeze to actually get it in and connect it to the motherboard itself. Very long, and for the purposes of a large case, it should be able to reach topside quite easily to the connection point, which is a good thing. And we'll have a look at the other cable pack. Our major cable for motherboard power, here goes to the motherboard, and you've still got the option for a 20-pin or your standard 24-pin with a 4-pin connection, so it is backdatable in that regards. Your Atx Main Connector here does seem like it may be a little tricky to pop this together. So on our Atx Main Connector, it seemed like there might have been a fault. In fact, that it shows you there's an arrow here and an arrow here for how it should be aligned. And I'm just trying to line it up. There we go. There's a click that occurs and you get it connected quite easily. At first glance, it seemed like it was back to front, and that was slightly worrying me, but it was a matter of having a proper look at it and to see, and then it lines up perfectly. Now we come to our peripherals, or our Sata connections in that regards for our hard disks and whatnot. We do still have a old standard 4-pin Molex connector. These are very long as well, these Sata connections. Very, very long. I'd say they're borderline close to a meter in length. The cables vary in design. They have two Sata and 2 Molex on this one. So I'm hoping that the others are, there's at least one that's all Sata pertaining to this. There should be 11 Sata connections. I would prefer it in one sense that was the case. But again, we've got another 2 Sata and 2 Molexes. So it's just a matter of cleanliness and tidiness in the case itself. Whether you want those Molexes hanging off is another story in itself. And the fact that so far the 2 Sata connections are on the short side has me debate some things about the design structure until we get to our third Sata cable in essence. And this time around, luckily we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Sata connections on a Sata specific cable with no Molexes attached. So that is a good point now. That means we do have 4, 6, 8 so far. And on this cable, there is 3 Sata connections instead of 4. So that makes our 11 Sata connections, while we do have 4 Molex connections. So that's the unboxing of our Be Quiet Straight Power 11 1000 watt Platinum power supply with our silent wing fan that is completely modular. 80 plus Platinum certification on this one. $340 odd Australian if inclined to purchase. It is a premium price for what seems to be a premium product. The packing by Be Quiet is still of a high grade capacity. I believe, from my understanding, has been slightly diminished in that capacity. A couple of years ago, the power supplies themselves came with additional boxes for your cabling and whatnot, and that was even on your gold certified 850 watt power supplies. So this is a more expensive version of that, and the packaging isn't as far as it used to be, but it wasn't meek or weak in any means. So guys, that's a Be Quiet power supply. Hope you guys enjoyed the unboxing, understand what you've got. They do go up to 1200 watts and range from 550 to 1200 watts. Also different scales on the certification, the 80 plus certification. In this case, it's the Platinum 1000 watt straight power 11 that we've just unboxed. Hope you enjoyed another Robbi Tech video, and I'll be back again. With more tech info, news, builds, and unboxings for y'all. Peace out.